Okay, so let me see if I can help you understand this. Like I mentioned, there's been lots of legal explanation and interpretations from both the NASA side and, of course, the Jubilee team as well, trying to help us understand this. But let's get an expert opinion on this. And we have Felix Owor, he's an election law expert. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on KTN Prime. So break it down for my viewers, what exactly this withdrawal by NASA means. Because in 2013, the Supreme Court said, suppose, however, that the candidate or candidates who took part in the original election dies or abandons the electoral quest before the scheduled date, then the provisions of Article 138 1B would become applicable. Of course, 138 wasn't there, so that was replaced by 138 8B. And specifically for this particular conversation that we are having, it says a candidate for election as president or deputy president dies on or before the scheduled election date. That is where a presidential election shall be cancelled and a new election held. Where are we as a country?
Well, I think the country should remember that the Supreme Court, during the petition number 5 of 2013, the Raila Odinga petition, the Supreme Court was invited for the first time following the promulgation of the new constitution to make or to interpret Article 138 and 140, okay, which they did. And in 2013, they came to the conclusion that, and upheld the decision of the IEBC that Uhuru Kenyatta was validly elected as president. However, in making the interpretation of Article 138 and 140, and drawing the distinction between the first round election, in other words, the election that we had on the 8th August of 2017, and the subsequent election, and in our case, an election arising as a result of an invalidation of the president-elect. The Supreme Court dealt with the following issues. Number one, who are the candidates that are allowed to participate in that particular election? That is paragraph 289. And what is the mode of the nomination? And most fundamentally, and as you pointed out, in paragraph 290, they dealt with the question that what happens if a candidate dies, and the Supreme Court did not just stop at that. They widened the scope of interpretation and include circumstances that would involve a candidate's withdrawing, and in the actual word of the Supreme Court, abandons the election. Okay. Then the Supreme Court referred that the applicable law would be Article 138 8B. Which article states as follows, that an election stands in, presidential elections will be cancelled, and B, in the event a candidate dies, Now, but because they are given a wider scope, and they are allowed by law to do that, the circumstances of the withdrawal of Prime Minister Raila Odinga from participating in the October election, technically means that there is no election. And that is the